Try Praying is an invitation for people who aren't religious and don't do church to begin talking with God. And it began as a chance conversation with somebody that I met several years ago who explained that a relative had become a Christian because they'd been given a 40-day prayer guide. It was just a little light bulb moment. Why don't we write a prayer guide for people who aren't religious and don't do church? I looked around, nobody had done one, so I ended up writing it. So Try Praying is a prayer guide, a simple prayer guide for people who are not religious and don't do church. 7 days, and it's got stories of answered prayer, it's got things they can do, they can pray about their own big issue, and crucially, it helps a person to begin to trust Christ with their lives.
The idea of the Try Praying booklet is to use it and to lose it. It's a 7-day prayer guide that's for people within church and for people without, for people who believe in God and for people who don't. Use it yourself first to become familiar with it, and then look for that God-given opportunity to pass it on to someone. That can be a friend, a neighbour, or even someone that you just bump into, so that you can say, try praying for a week and see what happens. You never know what could happen as a result.
So here's a little story about how prayer really changed my life. I grew up in a Christian family, my parents were Christians. I used to know about God in my head, I used to hear about God in church, but nothing really ever connected with my heart to make me believe. And so I kind of lived my life my own way, didn't really want anything to do with God's way, and when I was old enough, I completely sacked off church, and it just really wasn't relevant to me and just really wasn't something that I wanted to pursue. And so I kind of lived life my own way. That didn't get me very far. I used to go out with my mates getting wasted and getting drunk to try and fill this hole that I had in my heart because I wasn't satisfied with life. I really hated life. And this one night I ended up in a police station from being a naughty boy. I was there all weekend, and that was the first time where I really tried praying. So I started praying and I was like, God, I don't just want you to help me, I need you to help me because I just hate life at the moment. I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling lonely. I've got this hole in my heart, like I don't feel satisfied with life. And right there and then I experienced the presence of God like I've never experienced before. It was absolutely incredible. Completely changed my life because I really felt like I met with God right there. It wasn't until later on that I realised, after speaking to my mum, that my mum and my sister had been praying all that night for me as well. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. And right there and then I started my journey with God and started my journey as a Christian. But now I'm in 1224 at the Message Trust. We're going around high schools and using music to tell people about how amazing God is. And so prayer really changed my life, so why not try it yourself too?
Hello, my name is Emily. For 23 years I was ill with ME. I was constantly exhausted and sore. I had sore muscles, swollen joints. I had poor balance, I fell a lot. ME affects every cell in your body, so really there was no aspect of my health that was left untouched by this devastating illness. As the years went by, my condition got worse, and over the last 12 years of my illness, I had to use a wheelchair whenever I was well enough to leave my home. I was not expected to recover. In 2013, I went to a church and asked for Christian prayer for healing. After that, things started to change, and over the months I discovered that I had been believing some lies, that the soundtrack in my head was not altogether accurate. And I learned to weed out some of these lies and replace them with truth. I know that some people don't believe in miracles, but I always did. As the years went by, I started to wonder if perhaps God had overlooked me in some way. But in my heart of hearts, I always knew that God could do this for me and that one day He would. I realised pretty quickly after I had prayer for healing that things started to change. Over the months, I made a full recovery. I was healed in body, soul and spirit. Now I have a completely new life. I'm fully well, full of beans, back to work, and I'm so grateful to God for this good thing that He's done for me.
Turn around. Here's another story. A person gave a booklet to a friend who had been struggling with his wife's suicide 3 years beforehand. On day 6, he walked to a park bench overlooking a river, and at 7:15 in the morning, he prayed to receive Jesus. He says his life has completely changed.